welcome. Oh, I love that. That takes me back a little bit. Oh, people, how you doing out there? Welcome back to the Halloween 365 podcast. Although today we're not doing the podcast, we're doing something a little different on our YouTube channel. This is an exclusive content that you can only find here on the Fellas YouTube. And I think you guys are going to be in for a treat. We're going to be doing a little bit of Campfire stories today.
I got goosebumps from that opening.
He got, yeah, you damn right you got goosebumps from that opening.
This wouldn't be a Tales from the Crypt. It would be our first podcast, Tales from the Script.
Ah, yeah, there we go. I have got here a little game that I wanted to play with you guys. I want to kind of turn this into a permanent segment going forward. We like to call it Campfire Stories, and I'm going to be bringing you two stories, two deuces. One is entirely fictional, made up. It could be a creepypasta. It could be just something that some Redditor put out there in the atmosphere. It's always going to be something. The other one is a real-life account that someone has documented and had investigated. And I want you two to determine which one is real, which one is fake. If you get it right, you can either we'll figure out something for you. I was thinking maybe you guys could take the reins next time, and we'll just pass the stories on.
Whoever
we'll do this Are You Afraid of the Dark style.
Earns the right to.
That's right. Yeah.
And
we'll just keep on passing it.
In answer.
Yeah. I agree.
Back and forth.
Yeah, like you have to. It's stamped. It's like this is either true or it's a work of fiction. You have to be 100% determined.
Don't speak
you gotta
it
know.
unless that's your answer.
So
100%. If you speak it, it's locked.
what if we both end up going with cats? Going with like it's true, or
Then I guess I'll be the tiebreaker. It'll just go back to me, I guess, at that point until eventually we can stump someone. I mean, it just won't stop. It'll either be a tiebreaker or that'll probably be what we do in that scenario. I'll get a little bit of ambience going here for us, a little bit of that creepy synth while I read the first story. This first story, I'm not going to tell you who it comes from because that would give it away. It's called Little Hands. I've never lived in a haunted house, but my mother did as a teen. Oh God, this music's getting up there already. Do you feel that? I may have to turn it down just a hair. But anyway, I never lived in a haunted house, but my mother did as a teen. Other houses on her streets always had strange happenings and whatnot. A few homes away lived a man and his family. And one night, one of his daughters went to bed with a bad headache. The next day, she was found dead. She passed away from a small aneurysm, apparently. It's kind of tragic, to be honest with you. After the funeral, the family went away to get their minds off of the tragedy, and the father asked my uncle, my mom's brother, to check out their pets. My mom and dad, who were just dating at the time, went with my uncle, and my mother had heard that there was a grand piano in the house, and she always wanted to play a grand piano. My dad was studying to be a veterinarian, so he figured that this would be a good opportunity to kind of work with animals. After entering the house, my uncle and my father headed down to the basement to see the animals, and my mother went straight for the piano on the ground floor. She was playing it when suddenly she felt something at her ankles just kind of brush up against. She thought the cat must have escaped from the basement, maybe walked past her. She kept playing. She felt it again. She looked under the piano and she saw nothing. When she started again, she felt a small hand grab at her ankles, holding on tightly. She panicked, dashed down to the basement, called for my uncle and my father, and waited for them. When they all walked outside, my uncle could tell my mom was completely rattled and asked what was wrong. She told him what had happened, and she turned pale white. He told her the daughter who died used to play a game with her father where he would play the piano. She would crawl underneath to grab at his ankles and push his feet down on the pedals. That is story number one.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that for a minute. Now I'll let you simmer on that. Don't give me your answer yet, but just simmer on it. Maybe give me your reactions. What do you think? What? It's creepy. It's a little
I'm not gonna
spooky.
hint toward any answer thought that I have, but it's spooky.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely out there.
Reminds me
It's
of a
definitely
lot of
creepy.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
It reminds me of that. It also reminds me the imagery with the piano and all that reminds me of the movie Insidious.
But I also
like
in my
instantly.
head I imagine like this ghost belly crawling, going, "Get me your ankle."
It's just kind of like there's almost a comedic element to it, but there's also this weird undertone of like just dread
Yeah.
through the whole thing. And Jeremy, you look like you were gonna say something.
Oh, I'm thinking a lot. Yeah, I'm sitting there
Oh,
thinking.
yeah,
I mean,
it's-
no, it does remind me of a story that would have been in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, though.
Yeah, I could 100% see that. Even the title, Little Hands.
Yeah.
I find humor in the fact that maybe a guest would come over, a guest that is larger than life, and the ghost is getting ready to grab her ankles, and he goes, "Whoa, they're cankles!" And back,
Oh yeah, just
Jeez.
I could see that. I could see that being a thing. I'm gonna read the second story to you guys. Now the second story is a little. It's a little shorter. I would say that this one. Yeah, we'll just get right on it. We'll just read. We'll just read it. How does that sound? Let's cue up that creepy music again. One more time. One more time for the record. Here we go. This story does not have a title. Keep that in mind. I was sitting in my room after getting off work on the second floor. My little brother is downstairs watching TV. His dog is sitting outside the hallway right next to my door, as he always does. All of a sudden, this dog starts making all kinds of racket, jumping around, barking, clacking his nails, howling. I get up to go see what that noise was all about. And I hear, "Oh, that's a good girl," in a male's voice. It didn't sound like my little brother, so I go, "Oh, you're home early," thinking it was maybe my dad or one of my roommates. Our roomie had always been lurking around, so you never know when he's going to come home. Soon, as I'm outside of the door, there's no one there, just the dog, wagging her tail, staring at an empty end of the hallway. My little brother comes downstairs to yell at me for getting his dog all riled up, and he says he heard the same voice, thinking maybe it was our father or roommate. We did a once-over through the house with my butterfly knife and BB gun, and there was nobody. Still gives me the creeps to this very day. Now that story's not as spooky. It's a little weird, but it's not as
it has an
spooky.
ambiance of creepy.
It does. It does have an ambiance.
Especially if you're hearing a voice randomly in your house.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. I've never personally. Well, you know what? I won't say that. There have been moments where I've been sitting around and say, "Hey, did you need something? Did you say something?" And then the other person's like, "No, I didn't say anything." Now, I mean, who knows? There's like I think that there's this weird resonating thing in life where maybe some kind of echoes of the past are coming back. Who knows? Well, what do you guys think? Like,
I don't want to give too much on this one because I'm afraid it will give my answer. But I'll say I've had experiences like that before.
okay.
Creepy.
Do you care to share?
Oh, like
What exactly your experience was?
more or less of seeing, not really hearing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like so I've seen like something like a black shadowy figure about the eye level with me. Same thing. I didn't come out of my room for about 30 minutes after I seen it. That's how bad it scared me. But as far as hearing things, maybe I've heard footsteps and nobody be there. But that's about it. It's creepy when it happens though, because you're just like, what the hell?
It's an odd. I've not had anything like that happen, but it's an odd thought to me, for either one of these stories, to be thinking about the fact that if there are spirits, and if there is a spirit that is in your house, if that spirit is not on repeat, if it's not a residual spirit that just keeps doing the same thing and reliving the same thing over and over and over, if it's not that, then the only alternative is that, whether it's a bad one or a good spirit or whatever the case is, the only alternative is that this person or thing is sitting in your home the entire time you're living there, and it's either watching you live day to day while it tries to do its day to day tasks. So it's just watching you until it's able to build up enough energy to make some sort of reaction. And then that could be like a thump that you hear, and then you don't hear it for months because it's trying to build up energy again. But it's watching you
to do it.
It's watching your arguments with your significant other. It's watching you do everything private.
It's stuck in a state of limbo.
It's odd. It could literally, you're
is.
sitting here and you think that you're alone, but it could literally just come in and sit down on the chair in your room and just watch.
It could be right next to me right now.
afar.
I don't know. It's for me. It's both of these stories do something that to me kind of breaks that residual effect.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that they are both doing things. Well, I guess the little girl story is a little more residual in the sense of grabbing the legs, like, since it was a game that she played with her father.
Maybe, but wouldn't that be hell to just be stuck in a limbo of you're constantly grabbing ankles?
Well,
but at the same time, it's like, what would lock a spirit to that? You know what I mean? Like why that specifically? Why would that be the one thing that they are kind of gravitating towards?
Maybe it was something that
grab
brought
the legs.
joy. Maybe they had a foot fetish.
Maybe. But the other thing that kind of breaks the residual is the fact that this individual had a dog, and they said "good girl" to that dog.
Well,
first of all, how do you know it's a girl?
I was going to say, think about it, because y'all were talking like what would keep it here. In my opinion, and you'll know that this is from a movie, Cats. Hang on. They no
from Cats.
Cats
no.
jumping everywhere.
No.
James Corbett.
Was he in that? He was.
And this is something I really believe, and I feel like this movie got it right. Is what would keep somebody here? Unfinished business. Casper. It's in Casper, if you remember.
It was in Casper. It was.
The good girl thing, the dog thing, is what made me think of the possibility of something not being residual, which even if this is a person that wasn't a part of your family, this could just be somebody that lived in the house before you moved in. They might have had a dog, so if they're aware of everything,
maybe they're dog lovers.
They very well are just living this life with you, watching this dog, and they probably have seen that it's a girl, or heard you say "good girl," and
good girl.
Since animals can sense spirits, maybe he comforts her whenever you're not home, or she, or plays with the dog while you're asleep or something. You know what I mean? Like, the dog hops up on the couch and sits there while you're up in your room asleep, and really the spirit's sitting beside of it, just petting it.
Yeah.
How weird is that? Now think about that for a minute. How weird is that? Do either of you believe that animals have a sixth sense?
Yes.
Like, do they have the capabilities to see beyond the realm that we do?
Okay.
or maybe just glimpses of that.
I think that they
100%.
can. I think that sometimes that gets interfered with because there's a lot of people that think that animals have a sixth sense, but you also have to think that animals can hear really far away too. So even though they might be
Mm-hmm.
reacting to something, they could literally be reacting to the possum that's in the trash outside that you don't hear, or you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, but like, so think of it like this. We all own animals, and I'm sure at one point in time you've seen this happen. Like, say if your animal, cat or dog, is asleep, and then, there's there might be things going on outside, but it normally is like, whatever, and then all of a sudden it just wakes up and looks over a certain way, and it's staring over there,
Mm-hmm.
and then back to sleep it goes. Like, what if it is seeing something that's there, and it's like trying to determine, are you a harmful or like.
Yeah, yeah. There is a there is a creepiness about it. There's a term, I can't remember what it is, that they use to describe things that your pets may be looking at. The term escapes me right now, but anyway, it's creepy. Regardless, it's terrifying. I I find it fascinating, but at the same time, I find it just completely spooky. But I love it. Either way, I love it. So, I have to ask, which one's fake? Which one's real? And there is a correct answer. I promise you, there is a correct answer. There
I'll
is.
let old Pompadour go first.
Oh, Pomps. Okay.
Okay, so I'll give a quick justification too without stringing the video along. I think
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that the dog video is correct. I think that one is a story that is told. I think it's correct. I think it's the realest
Okay.
one out of the two. I think that that is something
Okay.
that was posted on Reddit. That somebody was sharing a story with a group of people. Whether it's true or not, who knows? The other one I feel like is something that was posted as something that was thought up in somebody's head. And I also think that the dog one is creepier. Yes, the ankle grabbing is creepy, but to think that something is living its life at the same time as you, that it's playing with my dog, that it's
Yeah.
walking by and smelling the soup that's being made on the stove, but it can't eat it. It's
Can they
just sitting
smell?
there
Ooh,
watching
that's a good one. Can ghosts smell?
that.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know. These are things I want to know.
Do they get mad when you
Okay.
crop dust
Okay.
them?
Yeah. These are the answers. These are the hard answers.
That is something you've never seen in a movie. Can they smell? I like that.
Well, I mean, in Casper, you had the ghost named Stinky, so I would assume.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So-
Second story for me is the real one.
Second story for you? Okay. Is that your final
Final
answer?
It's like, oh, there's no.
Has
That's
to
it.
be. It's
Once you
locked
speak
in.
it,
It's
it.
locked
Okay.
in. Okay. Germ.
I just realized I had continued. I just drank my water after my cat did. Anyway, I was going to do the
What?
same thing. I'm mad, but I was going to agree with you on go the same route. However, I was thinking about it because one doesn't have a name, so it was like, oh, that's probably true, but the other one does. But then I was like,
Mhm.
well, now think about it. What if somebody was like little hands? Because it made him think of that person. The other one does seem more believable, but something with me, I don't know. I think the piano one's the real one. I'm going with it.
Okay. Okay. Piano. And so we got piano, and we've got the dog story. Results are the dog story is the true story. Little Hands actually comes from a little website, just Scary Stories Somebody Told is the name of it. However, so let me just make this clear too before I continue. Some of these Reddit posters, they claim these stories are true. We don't 100% know
Right.
if these stories are true. They're claims. I mean, that's any supernatural event that you ever see. Even if it's on camera, it's still a claim. No one knows for sure. But I'm going off of this just in the scenario of these are supposedly true stories. The other one is 100% a work of fiction. Little Hands is a work of fiction. However, the other one is a claim that is, well, true in a sense. It was written by Redditor Christopher Squawkin was his name a couple of years ago. I love that name. But yeah, he actually did claim to experience this. And I mean, who's to say? I believe that maybe. But damn, that Little Hands freaks me out.
If Christopher watches this video, then think about what I've been saying. Maybe it's just kind of observing your life. I really wish somebody would have been really crafty on the Reddit post, though, and been like, oh, this guy's full of shit. He's just squawking.
Well, I mean, you can go see, his post if you want to look it up. People did leave comments under it, and there's a whole thread of just individuals who share their supernatural experiences, and it was hard to narrow one down, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of good ones, and I'm excited to keep doing this. I don't know if we're going to do this weekly, bi-weekly, whatever. I'm excited to keep doing this because this is a lot of fun.
This. So that means next time I get to choose.
It's on you. Yeah, you get to pick a real or a not, and then it'll be between me and Jerm here.
I'm curious, before we wrap everything up, I'm curious, because I'm going to come up with 2 good tales, but I'm curious for this one. Mm-hmm. Anybody that's watched the video, I want to know which one you find creepier. Something that is residual, that is constantly doing the same thing over and over, because it doesn't realize anything. Maybe it's slamming a door, maybe it's touching people. Or is it creepier to know that something's living its life while you are? It's aware, fully aware, hearing names, retaining all of that, watching things, but it can't do anything. I want to know. Comment below.
Yeah, drop a comment. Let us know.
It's unfinished business.
Something's going on.
Wouldn't that be
well, don't forget to
sit and watch people do things that you couldn't, or would you sit and like if it was years and years? If you're like from the 1800s and you're watching people with like phones and stuff, and you're just
phones.
Yeah. Well, if you take into play like what some people say about suicide victims, that's what happens.
They just kind of stick their life on a loop. Yeah. It's all a nightmare. Yeah. It's all a nightmare.
Would it be worse to be in a loop? Scarier to be in a loop where you're just reliving your last day over and over, or to be able to observe everything and be like trying to, like in your dreams, whenever you try to scream but nothing comes out, and that's what they're kind of doing. They're trying to get your attention, and then eventually they just give up and pet the dog, or you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it kind of raises the question too: are you even aware of it?
Right.
Like, how deep does the human conscious go? Like when we pass on from this life, what are we aware of? What do we take with us from our consciousness?
Are some of them aware? Are what would justify
do we take our memories? It's like, do we even know who we are? Are we just energy at that point, just floating around? Like, we can think freely, but we don't know anything else. Like, there's a million different questions that I have. I would love, even on our podcast, to get an individual on to talk about more of this stuff.
Reaching out to all mediums, whatever the hell you're called.
Seriously.
Medium, right?
Medium.
I'm
pretty sure. Medium. It's median, or mode. We're not doing math on this one.
No, I don't have my Texas Instrument out. I can't do that. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, do all of that good stuff. Go follow us over on our Instagram page at the Halloween 365 podcast. Do we have a page for the fellas over there? I don't know.
No, it's kind of generalized. We've got happy_haunting used as an Instagram, and we've also got Halloween 36.5 for the podcast itself if you want to listen, because we're going to start posting the videos, but not all of them are on here. We're going to be doing our podcast videos that'll be uploaded to our YouTube, but also you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Amazon, Anchor,
you can find
Google
us on
Podcast.
Anchor, Google. I think even Apple at this point. I don't know. It's kind of everywhere. It's all over the place. You can find us. We're the one, the only H365. But until next time, everyone out there, just keep it spooky, and we'll look forward to seeing what else we can bring up around the campfire. And Justin, you got to bring it. You got to bring your A game. So
Next time.